Good morning everyone. Myself Indranil Mondal, Assistant Professor in Mechanical Engineering Department. Today I am going to present an important lecture, Engine Suspension System Part 2, related to automobile engineering. Let's start the session.
These are the main contents: rubber springs, torsion bar and shock absorber. I will discuss one by one. Rubber springs. This is a schematic diagram of rubber springs, rubber suspension kit for light vehicles. Rubber springs are classified as compression spring, compression shear spring, steel reinforced spring, progressive spring, face shear spring and torsional shear spring. Let's discuss one by one. Before going to discuss the various types of rubber springs, let's discuss working principle of rubber springs. This is axle, this is frame. When frame is unloaded, then axle is in loaded condition, and when springs are unloaded condition, then frame will be in loaded condition. This one is axle. What are the main advantages of using rubber as a means of suspension? It can store greater energy per unit weight than the steel. For this reason, rubber springing system can be made more compact. The rubber has excellent vibration damping properties. The absence of squeaking. The number of bearings is reduced considerably for the rubber suspension system. Rubber is more reliable, longer life. A rubber suspension cannot suddenly fail like the metal springs. Compression spring. This is the schematic diagram of compression spring. This type of spring is still being used because of some advantages. What are those advantages? First, it is reliable, of simple construction and requires no bonding. It provides a rising rate characteristic. It can resist occasional overload of large magnitude. It has a large measure of inherent damping than most types of rubber springs. However, its use is limited because of the fact that some mechanical guide must be provided with this type of spring, and the provision of mechanical guide is generally undesirable. This is a schematic diagram of compression shear spring. In this type, the load is carried partly by shear and partly by compression components in the rubber, and hence although large strains may be allowed in the rubber body, shear stress at the bonded faces is kept small and fatigue properties are excellent. This is all about compression shear spring. Steel reinforced spring. This is a schematic diagram of steel reinforced spring. Steel reinforced spring, Eligas spring, consists of a steel helical spring bonded in a rubber body. The steel springing through carrying only about 20% of the load exercises a stabilizing influence on the rubber component, thereby allowing a greater stroke or diameter ratio to be used without other forms of guiding. Progressive spring. It has initially an excellent small rate which rises rapidly as the central cavity closes. This is a schematic diagram of face shear spring. It consists of a thick disc of rubber having metal plates bonded in its flat surfaces and axially pre-compressed. It operates by a relative rotation of the plates about its axis, thus loading the rubber partly in shear. This is a schematic diagram of torsional shear spring. It consists of an inner metal shaft, tubular or solid, and an outer through-like shell between which rubber body is bonded, the latter being put under pressure by closing the through with a riveted or spot welded base plate. The spring operates by the rotation of the shaft about its own axis relative to the shell. So these are all about various types of rubber springs that are used for vehicles. Torsion bar. This is a schematic diagram of torsion bar. This is another schematic diagram of torsion bar. Torsion bar is simply a rod acting in torsion and taking shear stresses only. These are made of heat treated alloy, spring, steel. The amount of energy stored per unit weight of material is nearly the same as for coil springs. Torsion bar is often used with the independent suspension. A diagrammatic sketch of torsion bar suspension is given in this figure. As shown in this figure, the bar is fixed to one end of the frame, while the other end is fixed to the end of the wheel arm and supported in the bearing. The other end of the wheel arm is connected to the wheel hub. When the wheel strikes a bump, it starts vibrating up and down, thus exerting torque on the torsion bar, which acts as a spring. Torsion bar spring is lighter as compared to leaf springs, and also it occupies less space. Sometimes the torsion tubes are used instead of the bars, the former being stiffer than the latter ones. There are various disadvantages of the torsion bar suspension. The first is that it does not take the braking or driving thrust, so that additional linkages have to be provided for that purpose. The second disadvantage is the absence of friction force and hence of damping, which is a necessity to control the vibrations produced due to road shocks. So what I told, that torsion bar suspension is used in independent suspension system. It is a rod acting in torsion and taking shear stresses only. It is made up of heat treated alloy spring steel. This bar stores amount of energy nearly as same as coil spring. The bar is fixed at one end to the frame, while the other end is fixed to the end of the wheel arm and supported in the bearing. The other end of the wheel arm connected to the wheel hub. When the wheel strikes a bump, it starts vibrating up and down, thus exerting torque on the torsion bar, which acts as a spring. So this is all about torsion bar. Let's discuss shock absorbers. A springing device must be a compromise between flexibility and stiffness. If it is more rigid, it will not absorb road shocks efficiently, and if it is more flexible, it will continue to vibrate even after the bump has passed. So we must have sufficient damping of the spring to prevent excessive flexing. The friction between the leaves of a leaf spring provides this damping, but because of the uncertainty of the lubrication conditions, the amount of friction also varies, and hence the damping characteristics do not remain constant. For this reason, the friction between the springs is reduced to minimum, and additional damping is provided by means of devices called dampers or shock absorbers. In the case of coil springs, the whole of the damping is provided by the shock absorbers. The shock absorbers thus control the excessive spring vibrations. This is a schematic diagram of shock absorbers. This is the schematic diagram of shock absorbers. The main parts are upper mount, piston rod, oil, reserve cylinder, pressure tube, base valve, lower mount, extension cycle, and this for compression cycle. In fact, the name shock absorber is rather misleading, since it is the spring and not the shock absorber that initially absorbs the shocks. The shock absorber absorbs the energy of shock converted into vertical movement of the axle by providing damping and dissipating the same into heat. Thus, it merely serves to control the amplitude and frequency of spring vibrations. It cannot support weight and has zero resilience. Therefore, damper is a better term technically to describe the shock absorber. What I have told, shock absorbers controls unwanted spring motion through dampening. There are two cycles, first compression cycle and second extension cycle. Without shock absorbers, the vehicle would continue to bounce up and down long after striking dip or hump in the road. Hydraulic shock absorbers and gas pressurized shock absorbers are the two main types of shock absorbers. In case of gas pressurized shock absorber, nitrogen gas is generally used. A shock absorber is a mechanical device designed to smooth out or damp shock impulse and dissipate kinetic energy. Limit spring compression extension movements to smooth the vehicle's ride. Without shock absorbers, the vehicle would continue to bounce up and down long after striking dip or hump in the road. Sway bar or stabilizer bar. These two are schematic diagrams of sway bar or stabilizer bar. It is used to keep the body from leaning excessively in sharp turns. Fastened to lower control arms. During cornering, centrifugal force makes the outside of the body drop and inside raise. Their purpose in life is to try to keep the car's body from rolling in a sharp turn. This is all about sway bar or stabilizer bar. Anti-sway bars or anti-roll bars. These two are schematic diagrams of anti-sway bars or anti-roll bars. When one road wheel is deflected more than the other, for example when it comes over a bump on the road or during hard cornering, there is a tendency for the vehicle to roll. To obviate this tendency, a stabilizer, also called anti-roll bar, is used in the form of a torsion bar. This is the schematic diagram of stabilizer or anti-roll bar for rear axle. This figure describes such a device used in the rear suspension system. The torsion bar C is fixed to springs A and B by means of two short rods D. The torsion bar is supported in two bearings E, which are fixed to the frame or the car floor pan, that is not shown in this figure. To understand the working of the stabilizer bar, consider a situation when the car rolls out such that the nearer side in the figure moves up. That decreases load on spring A, which causes the nearer rod B to move down. On the other hand, the load on spring B is increased, thereby letting the further rod D to move up. Thus the bar C, which is supported in bearings, undergoes twisting. It is the resistance of the bar to twisting that counters the tendency of the car to roll out, thereby providing stability against lateral forces. A stabilizer as used on a front axle with independent suspension is also used in automobiles. This is all about anti-roll bars. Air suspension. Air suspension systems are coming into prominence because of certain advantages they possess over the conventional metal springs. What are those advantages? First, a variable space for wheel deflection is put to optimum use by virtue of the automatic control devices. Because the vehicle attitude is also constant, changes in head lamp alignment due to varying loads are avoided. The spring rate varies much less between the laden and unladen conditions as compared with that of conventional steel springs. This reduces the dynamic loading. The improved standard of ride comfort and noise reduction attained with air springs reduce both driver and passenger fatigue. So what I have told that air suspension is a type of vehicle suspension powered by an electric or engine driven air pump or compressor. This compressor pumps the air into a flexible bellows usually made from textile reinforced rubber. This in turn inflates the bellows and raises the chassis from the axle. Generally two types of air springs are used. One is bellows type spring and another one is piston type spring. Both have been employed in a wishbone type independent suspension system. Internal volume of the bellows is reduced during jounce, which means that the air pressure inside the spring is increased as it is compressed. That is, the spring becomes stiffer. Due to this, the optimally comfortable ride is provided under all conditions. A vehicle with electronic air suspension can provide about 3 times softer ride as provided by conventional coil springs, simultaneously absorbing bumps and protecting against bottoming due to variable spring rate. This is the layout of an air suspension system. The 4 air springs, which may be either the bellows type or the piston type, are mounted on the same position where generally the coil springs are mounted. An air compressor takes the atmospheric air through a filter and compresses it to a pressure of about 240 megapascal, at which pressure the air in the accumulator tank is maintained, which is also provided with a safety relief valve. This is air accumulator, safety relief valve, air filter, lift control valve. This one is return line, this one is supply line, leveling valves, air spring. This one is also an air spring, leveling valve. There are also 2 air springs. This is the front portion. This high pressure air goes through the lift control valve and leveling valves through the air springs as shown in this figure. The lift control valve is operated manually by means of a handle on the control panel through a cable running from the valve to the handle. This is all about air suspension system. What are the advantages of air suspension system? This maintain a constant frequency of vibration whether vehicle is laden or unladen. Constant frame height is maintained. It helps to reduce the load while the vehicle in motion, that is the dynamic loading, as the spring rate variation between laden and unladen weight is much less. It gives smooth and comfort ride of the vehicle. The stiffness of the system increases with the increase of the deflection. So these are the main advantages of air suspension system. These are the main advantages of air suspension system that I have told. Common air suspension problems: air brake or air strut failure due to old age or moisture within the air system that damages them from the inside. Compressor failure, primarily due to leaking air springs or air struts. Compressor burnout may also be caused by moisture from within the air system coming into contact with its electronic parts. Dryer failure, which functions to remove moisture from the air system, eventually becomes saturated and unable to perform that function. These are the main common air suspension problems. What are the basic parts of suspension system? First is control arm, movable lever that fastens the steering knuckle to the vehicle's body or frame. Steering knuckle provides a spindle or bearing support for the wheel hub, bearings and wheel assembly. Ball joints, joints that allow control arm and steering knuckle to move up and down and side to side. It is spherical bearing. Springs, springs support the weight of the vehicle, permits the control arm and wheel to move up and down. shock absorbers or dampeners. It keeps the suspension from continuing to bounce after spring compression and extension. Control arm bushing, sleeves that allows the control arm to swing up and down on the frame. These are the main basic parts of air suspension systems. There are two types of suspension systems: non-independent suspension and independent suspension. In case of non-independent suspension, it has both right and left wheel attached to the same solid axle. When one wheel hits a bump in this road, its upward movement causes a slight tilt of the other wheel. In case of independent suspension, it is a broad term for any automobile suspension system that allows each wheel on the same axle to move vertically independently of each other. These are the schematic diagrams of non-independent suspension system and independent suspension system. This one is low speed bump with the patent 11 no lean suspension. This one is low speed bump with independent suspension system. Independent suspension front and rear. What are the main advantages and disadvantages? Advantages are better handling and cornering, better stability and steering, more ride comfort and lower weight. What are the main disadvantages of independent suspension front and rear? Complex design, more maintenance cost, more wear and tear, and less overall strength. So these are all about torsion bar and rubber springs, shock absorbers. If you like this video, please share and subscribe my channel and stay connected with me. Thank you.